Hello everyone, this is Ashish, and today we are going to start our session on PowerShell development. And these two modules 5 and 6 are actually part of PowerShell module development, but PowerShell development. But I have kept the module development as a separate module, because sometime it all talks about module development. And the PowerShell development I am starting with CIM and WMI. So this is one of the main thing you would encounter when you will start working with the PowerShell development. I mean, when you will move move from a domain specific to to dig the internals of Windows. And when you will be interacting with objects across domains, across tool sets, then this CIM and WMI is the first thing which you will encounter. So that's why I thought of starting with this one. And then progressively we will actually discuss about different things like working with .NET objects in PowerShell and so forth. So let's begin the session from PowerShell development. So this is our PowerPoint slide. So this is CIM and WMI. So what exactly CIM is and what exactly WMI is? So any system administrator who has been part of kind of automation or part of scripting in any point of time would have come across WMI for sure, if not CIM. And CIM is also one of the thing which you will come across when you will be using PowerShell a lot to automate your infrastructure, or to to talk to your tool set on the programming level. So let's start it, and let's start knowing it what exactly is. So let's first understand what is the full form of these two things. So CIM is Component Information Model and WMI is Windows Management Instrumentation. Okay, so Windows Management Instrumentation and CIM both are in a way the same thing. They both serves the same purpose, okay, but in a different way. The first thing is in a different way, and they both are available in Windows, I mean in Microsoft tool sets. So why we have both of them? So let's first talk about CIM. So CIM is the actual thing which Microsoft has implemented in its infrastructure, and then it called itself WMI. So WMI is nothing but implementation of CIM. CIM is a kind of, you can say, standard, okay. And as you can see in the second point, CIM is an open standard defined by DMTF. So Distributed Management Task Force, there is a group, okay, which defines the standard upon which on which they are compliance vendors agree upon. So CIM is one of the standard on which the platforms part of DMTF agree upon, and Windows too agree with that particular standard. So Windows has implemented CIM in its own way, and they called it WMI. Okay, so if we talk about conceptually, so WMI is nothing more than an implementation of CIM, I mean Component Information Model. If you want to know more about CIM, then I would request you to go ahead and read about it, what exactly CIM is. Okay. Okay, so if you go ahead and go to Wikipedia, it actually describes this particular thing. Not here, CIM it is from IBM, but yeah, it will talk about the actual thing. IBM has also implementation of CIM. So yeah, okay. So I mean, you will have to dig it. I mean, what is, let's do one thing. CIM DMTF. Oops. DMTF. Okay. So DMTF has released version of CIM, and they have whole document how, you know, what they, I mean, what are the guidelines and you know, all those things. But for the time being, it is, I mean, for this particular course objective, it is, you know, you should know that it is a standard you know, defined by DMTF, which many of the platform which compliant with the DMTF you know, should agree upon. And Windows, you know, Microsoft has implemented its own CIM implementation, and they call it WMI. Now, what exactly it is in terms of practical, I mean, in terms of I mean, if you are a technical guy, if you are a, you know, a system administrator, or if you are a programmer, then you would say, I mean, what exactly it is. I mean, is it a database? Is it something like a registry? Is it something, I mean, what is it? So if you have experienced it, I mean, if you have you know, interacted in past, then you must have, you know, saw that there is a pattern, something like a database. Like, you know, you write a query and you get something from out of WMI, and that's how you start working with it. But it's not a database. I mean, it's not a database. Why it is, I mean, how they define, they say it's kind of a repository, and it's kind of a repository which acts like a database. Now, why we don't call it a database? Because WMI or a CIM do not only have data, they have actions as well, they have events. So database do not contain any events actually. If you are familiar with SQL or something, then you have seen that all you can get is from data. I mean, from these databases is data. You cannot ask them to work with their data. I mean, you cannot actually ask them to, you know, do certain task from the database itself, right? So that's why I won't consider WMI or CIM as a database, but they are a repository which acts like a database. I mean, which gives you a database feeling, which you know, when you interact with it. So that's what it is. I mean, we will go through it. I mean, how you interact with it in coming session. But that's what, I mean, that's how I would say in a layman term, that what exactly it is. So I mean, you write a query, you get data out of it. Let's do a quick demo. So get-WmiObject is a command, and the class, you give a class name, just like in databases you give table name. Here you give class. So class is this one. There are a lot of classes. I mean, you cannot remember all of it, okay? So, and do not try to even. I will tell you how you can, you know, actually start working it. So if I do this, you see, computer system gives me details of my computer, okay? So this is what my computer details are, right? So as you can see, this class has my computer detail, and let me just, so as you can see, it gives me the computer details, right? So let's go back to our slide, and okay, so okay, go to the next part of WBM, web-based enterprise management. So what it is actually, you can say that, I mean, you want to manage your infrastructure. Yeah, so as we talked about that, okay, so it is part of web-based enterprise management. So it is again a part of DMTF standard. So I mean, it is like, I mean, when you want to manage your infrastructure remotely, so that's what it is. I mean, that's what it talks about. If you want to know more about it, then again Google it and go to the Wikipedia, right? You just get, the common, the basic understanding what exactly it means. It doesn't mean that when it says that, it is web based enterprise management, it doesn't mean that you will have a portal kind of thing. It is not that. I mean, it is like, you want to manage your computer remotely. Those are the things which comes into the picture here, that these are the, I mean, how DMTF, because DMTF starts with distributed. So distributed means there will be computer, there will be a client server, or there will be a computer, there will be another computer somewhere on the network, and you want to manage both of them from each other. Then it comes, the web based. I mean, you are connected through the network, and then you want to manage the system across network. So there the standard comes from the DMTF, how you can do that. And they have couple of standard like CIM and then WSMan. WSMan is another PowerShell or Windows implementation, which we call WinRM. So we have already talked about it in remoting session. If you have not watched it, I would request you to go ahead and watch it. So WSMan is another open standard from DMTF, and Windows has actually implemented it and given it as WinRM. So that is also a part of the same thing, with the web-based enterprise management. So this is what it is. It is all about conceptual thing. These are the things you would not come across on day-to-day basis, but you should know the basic, like why you are talking to this. I mean, why you are actually working with WMI, why you are working with CIM, when to use CIM, when to use WMI. We will also talk about that as well. So CIM is object oriented and manufacturer independent. So as we talked about it, so now you should be getting the feel that when you will be using CIM, and actually Microsoft also recommend that you should start using CIM whenever there is possibility, instead of using WinRM. So WinRM is something which uses DCOM behind the scene. We will talk about that as well, which is kind of older technology. And CIM uses WinRM for remoting or for getting details from the remote computer, which is kind of a latest or I would say the more advanced way of doing things from the Windows, from the Microsoft. So we will talk about that as well. So CIM is object oriented, and it's manufacturer independent. So CIM is something which has been defined by DMTF itself. So it is not bound to any particular manufacturer like Microsoft. WMI is bound to Microsoft. So WMI is implementation of CIM, but it is implementation of CIM in Windows world, okay, in Microsoft world. You won't see anything related to CIM in Ubuntu or in Linux, any Linux flavor or any other operating system, if you want to see that. But CIM is something you would be able to relate it with. There should be a CIM if it is DMTF compliance platform, then you will have the CIM, the way of talking to the platform using the CIM interface. So every operating system will have a different way of doing this thing, but yes, there should be a CIM way, but WMI is not, you will get outside of Microsoft world. Okay, so WMI is Microsoft implementation, as we have already talked about. WMI is available in Windows starting from 2000 and above, right? And WMI allows the management of hardware and software components. So just like that, WMI gives you it has been for so long time, and if you come from a configuration management background, then you must be aware of how important it is to know the WMI classes, or how to work with WMI. So it is very much important to know WMI if you are into the tool making, if you are into the advanced scripting role, somewhere you want to automate the things inside the boxes, then WMI comes into the picture, right? CIM and WMI in PowerShell. Okay, so we will talk about how we do this in PowerShell. So CIM has initially Microsoft has support for WMI, more support for WMI than for CIM, because as we said that CIM uses the advanced way of doing things. So Microsoft took few time to develop those things which could be supported using on the on the latest framework, or I would say on the latest platform, and WMI is there for a long time. So PowerShell 3.0 introduced a lot of things related to CIM and Windows. Windows 2012 server, and nowadays every on every release of .NET and PowerShell, you would get a lot of support for CIM as well as WMI, of course. Let's get feel of how what are the commandlets you would be getting, right? So let's use a very basic command, get command name, and I will say star anything with WMI, right? Anything start with WMI, anything after WMI. So you get everything, right, for WMI, like get WMI object, invoke WMI method, restore WMI event, remove WMI object. There are the most useful commandlet is get WMI object. We will not go into the details of each commandlet. My objective is to help you explore it, to know the basics, and then depending upon your needs and depending upon your role, depending upon your requirements, you would be able to explore it. And there are a lot of things you can do with WMI and you can do with PowerShell. So as we said, WMI is something which acts like a database. So you most probably you would be using it to get certain things from the computer, from the devices. So let's do this one. This is one we use a lot. Get WMI object, then class. Class is, as I said, class is something you can relate with the table. So WMI has a lot of tables, lot of classes, and we will talk about that, how to know what are the classes you have, right? So get WMI object, that's class, and let's do one thing. When 32, it is one of the class name, operating system. So operating system will give details, few details. So let's see what are the details. So these are the details I get by default, but there can be hidden details as well. So let's do get member, and as you can see, there are many things I can get from this class. You see, manufacturer, free virtual memory, free space, description, and many property and many useful one. Build number, build type, yeah, organization, OS architecture, OS language, so many things, yeah. Total swap space size, virtual memory size, Windows directory. So many things are there, right? And you can start working on these things, and there are so many classes. If you see, there are so many classes from the WMI, and what I would say, it depends on role to role. If you are a network engineer, or if you are someone who develops tools and script which talks to network things lot, then probably you would be exploring 3 or 4 or 5 classes, or maybe more than 5 or 6 or maybe 10 as well. But it would not be more than 15 or 16 for a person who interact with a specific domain. So probably you should start exploring what are the things available for WMI, and you would get a number of classes, and then each class will have lot of information like this one, and you will be getting whatever you need from that domain on operating system on the computer. So that's how you use it, right? And in the same way we have one more. I mean, we can get the get command, and then we will say everything related to CIM. CIM, yeah. So everything related to CIM. So it is, I mean, somewhere if you can see that it is something like something similar. So get CIM class is equivalent of get get WMI object. So let's do the get CIM class. Okay, and instead of that, let's do one thing. Get CIM class will give you the class. Okay, so let's it's not the equivalent of get WMI object. Get WMI object has a different alternative for CIM, that is get CimInstance. So let's first do get CIM class. So get CIM class will give you the classes, just like get command would give you commands. Get CIM class will give you all the classes, I mean all the classes with the name whatever you want. I mean, suppose you want all the classes with network in its name. So I will do the same thing. So this is what I am getting. There are a lot of classes. Yeah, it is still waiting. I guess it is still waiting. Yeah. So probably not all of them I would be interested into. Maybe I would be interested into these two, right? One is CIM network adapter, one is Win32 network adapter, and as you can see the names they are equivalent to each other. So let's try to get into CIM network adapter. So I would say get CimInstance, and then I will say class name, then I will say copy paste. Yeah. Oops. So this will give me a lot of things, as you can see. Yeah, device name, adapter type, and as I have a Hyper-V and Docker and so many things on my computer, so it is giving me a lot of network adapter I have. And then you can this is the default look what you get. And if you will do the get member, you will get a lot of properties, right? You have you have caption, device ID, error cleared, index, I mean MAC address, manufacturer, maximum speed, net connection ID, right? I mean power management capabilities, product name, and apart from properties, if you see, we have methods as well. So as I said, I would not say CIM or WMI as a database, because they even though they act like a database, but they are not database, because database do not have methods in its table, right? So table contains method as well. If you want to do certain tasks with CIM or WMI objects, you can do that. That's what it is, right? So let's go back to our slide and let's see. Yeah, so we have done the same thing in slide as well. So CIM and WMI, okay, so we have already done, I mean there are the BIOS classes, there are operating system classes. I would ask you to start exploring this. There are a couple of tools actually. The best tool I would tell you, if you are familiar with the VB script, right, then there is a very nice tool to use, and then it will help you actually to explore WMI classes. How? Let's see that. So VB edit, yeah, this is the one, right? Yep, this is the one. If you are familiar with this one, let's download it. Okay, it will take a while downloading. Okay, let me install it. The real if you even used it, but I'm not sure whether you have explored that particular thing what I want to show you. Yeah. Let's install this one. Close this one. Yep. Let the installation finish. Okay, so till it will install, let's just explore what are the things we have already covered. So we have covered Get-WmiObject, Get-CIM class, yeah. CIM class, CIM instance, CIM class, and CIM instance. CIM instance is the alternative of Get-WmiObject, I would say. So these two things are kind of equal in respective system. So let's just save it. Okay, so CIM, let's see. Yep. So let's start the VBS edit. This is the trial one. It does not stops you to work. And then if you go to the snippet, and then if you go to WMI, and then if you select a class, and then if you say no, this is not the one, snippets, WMI, and then lots of classes. Let's go to logical, the one which we might be interested into, right? There are so many things you can start working with, but let's go to BIOS. This is the one. Maybe, I mean, you can go to operating system, you can go to computer management. Let's see, computer system. Okay, so if you go to the computer system, it will give you, and if I will run it, skip, it will take 3 seconds, and it will run, and then you will get the output. Yeah, and then if you know a little bit of VBS, then actually you will be able to understand the class properties, and then you will be able to use it in your PowerShell. It is kind of, there are tools as well, there are graphical user tools as well, but because WMI is something which is old, right, and VBS is old, so there are so many use cases in VBS, and at times you might encounter where you can do things with VBS itself for the till it has support. And yeah, this is what I was talking about. There are other GUI tools as well from Microsoft itself as well, that you can select a class, then it will give you the description of the class. It might create a query for that as well. But this is, I mean, just start exploring, you will get many tools out there. This is the one I use a lot, so I thought of, I mean, I actually used to, not now, I do not need actually WMI classes in my current scripting role, but yeah, I mean, this is one of the things which you can use if you talk to WMI a lot or CIM a lot. Okay, so we have already covered it. Yeah, I mean, there is another way of working with the WMI as well, like as I said, it acts like a database. So I can say there is a query I have constructed just like in database, select star from just like 132 computer system. Yeah, and this is a query, and then I am get WMI or CIM instance you can use any of them, query, and then I am telling what query I want to run. Oops, this variable. Yeah, so let's run it. Let's do one thing. Let's clear this one and let's first run the first style, get WMI object class, then 32 underscore printer system. Yeah, so I got this one, and now let's try to run this one. Same thing. Yeah, just the style is different, right? So in some places you might find, you know, the first one useful, or in some places you might find the second one, you know, useful. The both do the serves the same purpose, I would say. Yeah, so let's go to the next slide. Yeah, it is the same thing for CIM instance, CIM and WMI content. So let's just wrap it up for today because it's already 30 minutes. I do not want to, you know, exceed this particular thing, just to make sure that sessions are brief enough to you know, to explain the concept. Yeah, so we will again talk about WMI in my next session, and probably we will be finishing the WMI in next session, and then we will be progress towards COM object, and then we will be progress about the .NET object in PowerShell. We will see how to talk to .NET object, how to create .NET object, not extensively because this is a basic training, but we will just get feel of it. Yeah, and then we will talk about module development, which is one of the last complex module, I would say. I mean, it is kind of the explained topic, how you can start working with module, how you can develop your own module, how you can use modules developed, you know, open source modules, you know, there, so that if you know the basics of modules development, then probably it will be more useful for you to, you know, use those modules developed by someone else and debug it if it you know, stuck somewhere, and you can actually create issues out there on GitHub or somewhere they have hosted their module. So I mean, it will be useful. Yeah, so let's just wrap it up, and just comment out there and give me your feedback, and if you want me to explain something specific, just comment out there or let me know, you know, on my email ID. Do join our Telegram group, and yeah, I mean, subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much. Bye bye.